question is a general overview of what your take is on the new education policy. The education industry is abuzz with new education policy since last July, with several educationists praising the move and others showcasing concerns about its implementation. What is your take on it? Should it be seen as new beginning to make India a knowledge hub?
The problem with NEP is that it is too good. That is its only problem, I can tell you. And if something is too good, once I remember former foreign minister, Mrs. Sushma Swaraj, was speaking on the floor of Lok Sabha. And Mr. Sangma was the Lok Sabha speaker at that time. And he said that, ma'am, don't deliver such a good address on the floor of the house. We are not used to it. So, I think the same thing has happened with NEP. It is very, very inspirational, transformative in nature. Chaitanya ji said that, yes, it has come after a long time. That point is given. In my opinion, it is one of the most wonderful covenants between the government and the children of this country. And this document defines what is the best for the children, what will make the children best for the country and for the humanity. And it also gives a bit of an idea as to how government, now the policy is in place with the management of resources. It will marshal the experts, the policymakers, the people on the ground, the teachers, the school leaders, pool their energies together to implement the policy. And this policy, the last thing that I want to tell you in my opening remark is one of the best universal designs for learning. So it has the elements which takes care of the children. It has the element which also ensures that the teachers are given the respect that they deserve, and they are given the opportunity to innovate and respect their autonomy. So this universal design of learning in the form of this document as an agreement between the government and the children is perhaps the best thing that has happened. And of course, its success will depend on its implementation.
I'll be a little more specific about it. You've asked whether it is a new beginning or not. I think it is definitely a new beginning because some of the ideas that have been mooted by the NEP 2020 are absolutely path-breaking. They are seminal changes that we have been waiting for a very, very long time. To me specifically, the focus on the age group of 3 to 6 years, the pre-primary or Anganwadi segment, and bringing it under formal education is a very big step towards making our education truly global, Although, we know that studies have shown that 80% of a child's cognitive development happens around this time, around, this age group. But still, so far, this has been the most unstructured, arbitrary, neglected part of education. Even your Right to Education Act of 2009 does not focus on this age group at all. It talks about free and compulsory education only from 6 to 14 years. So it is totally silent on education prior to 6 years. So what happens to millions of children before the age of 6 years? If some private institutions were doing it, it was totally out of choice. And there was nothing mandatory or obligatory on the part of any institution or anyone, or for any child, for every child to go to school at that age, and specifically for that section of society where it is needed the most. So by formalizing this part of education, the NEP ensures that all children, irrespective of where they are, will be in schools, and they are all benefited. So to me, even before we start discussing about the other aspects, the National Education Policy 2020 is most certainly a new beginning, because in more ways than one, the policy begins with an idea which is a pioneering idea.
So I am in sync with what Dr. Ashok Pandey said, that it is too good. It is something, when you look at every aspect of NEP, you feel that connect with it. You really want that it should come to life sooner than later. And as Rita Senji said, that it is path breaking, it is a new beginning. In fact, I would say that it is, in terms of, we are re-looking at things, the way the education is being imparted now. So it is a fresh look at how we are going to bring different things together and take it to a different level, so that now the children, or through this education, we are able to get a closer look at life. Because the NEP 2020 talks of preparing children for life by connecting them strongly with life experiences, that is the experiential learning, where there is lesser emphasis on rote learning and there is greater connection with life, and children are prepared for their livelihood as a part of life. And the best thing about the document that we have gone through is that every stakeholder who is going to be the part of implementation of NEP 2020, the role and responsibility of each stakeholder has been very clearly defined. There is a lot of clarity that everyone gets, having the document that has come out and all the reading that we have done so far. So we are all, as educators, really excited and looking forward to bring NEP 2020 into life. That's my take on it. Thank you.
But I think what really stuck out to me is the kind of a centrality of the teachers. Teaching as a profession is being seen as a kind of the profession of not a professional choice, right? So if you look at the kind of the Prime Minister's address 5 years back in 2015, he was talking about that how teaching as a profession is losing its sheen, and how could we really restore the moral profession of teaching, moral purpose of teaching, and make sure that teachers are being respected and feeling really motivated to teach well. So I think this policy definitely talks about the teachers and their role and their importance, and talks about how they should feel autonomous, how they should feel accountable, but also at the same time feel motivated to teach well, because they are the ones, no matter what you bring in the form of the policy, but ultimate responsibility lies on the people who are in the practice, who are very close to the child. As Dr. Chaitanya said, that the teachers are the ones who are most close to the children, and they are the ones who are one of the most proximate factor for a teach children learning outcome and the lifelong learning. So if you really want to cultivate the joy of learning in students, it is very important to really think that what kind of teachers you want to have in the country. And I think this policy talks about it. It's very holistic in nature. As policy itself says that this is the first policy of the world in 21st century. Whereas I feel that it's like one of the most holistic policy in the world, honestly. And it talks about the emphasis on, as Rita ji said, that how much it is like putting focus, and which means almost very neglected domain so far is the early childhood care and education. ICDS centers in the country are meant to do that work, but because of multiple regions, not only the regions of capability, but also in the region of intent and the focus, they have not been able to achieve the objectives of education in early grades. So instead talking about very compartmentalized approach, I think the policy is talking about very holistic approach and takes about a very clear targets for the short, medium, and long term, and being very specific. When I say short, medium, long, I think it talks very clearly as to like what is the preconditions to be successful, right? And it talks about like teachers recruitment. It talks about how it is important to build the right kind of institutions. In medium terms, generally in the country, and I think, most of you have seen this, that the successful components will either need a mission or a commission, right? And this policy talks about the mission of foundation literacy and numeracy, which is, I think, a very remarkable attempt by the policymakers here, where they say that you need to attain universal foundation literacy and numeracy, because that's the kind of the gateway to enter into a kind of lifelong learning pathway. So by 2025 achieving universal FLN, by 2040 becoming the best education system in the world. I think these are all very very, very clearly targeted components, I think, which policy intend to show. I think there are all kind of these takeaways. I think the one thing which I really, while I feel that, and I'll stop here, while I feel very sort of highly excited about seeing this policy come into reality, at the same time, I feel little sort of, I think, skeptical as to how. I mean, how would we be able to do this? And that is something I think all of us and everyone in this society definitely should think, that how do they see their role to make sure that this such a good policy is being implemented in its true spirit, and what we really want to achieve as part of this, no, I mean, as an outcome of this policy is being achieved by the society as a whole.